So Kari, thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to learn all about Gateway. Let's talk a little bit for those who may not know what Gateway is. What is Gateway?
Gateway, it actually stands for something. Gateway is Gifted and Talented Education with all youth.
Interesting. I never knew there was an acronym.
It's actually a talent development enrichment program for all students in Barnstable. And it starts as low as kindergarten and can go all the way through the high school years.
Wow, I didn't know that either. I thought that it ended when you got out of middle school.
Yeah. The Gateway program, its primary mission is to support creative learners, to challenge students, and so we work a lot with all students on their interests, and then further within academics, help to challenge them if needed. So it's a lot more to support all needs of students and not just a specific population of students.
Wonderful. When did Gateway begin in Barnstable Public Schools?
Good question. 30 years ago.
Wow.
It began. So it's been around for quite a few decades. It was different back then. I actually started in Gateway in, I believe it was 98. And I was a 4th grade teacher, and at that time it was a stipend position where during the time that my 4th grade students went to music, I would then support students coming in for Gateway. It's evolved over the years and to where it is now, and in the past it was considered Gateway Gifted and Talented Education with Able Youth, and a couple of years ago we changed it to all youth.
That makes perfect sense. You know, occasionally I've seen fundraisers for Gateway. How is Gateway funded? Is it funded through the school system, or is it a mix?
Thank goodness, Barnstable is amazing at supporting and working with the whole child. So Barnstable Public Schools is one of the very few in the state of Massachusetts that has a gifted and talented development for students, a program that's actually fully funded through the district. We do have fundraising. For example, right now there's going to be some fundraising for students that have been invited to the Future Problem Solvers International Conference. It's being held in the University of Wisconsin, and they're going to be traveling. So the cost of the travel is what they're fundraising for.
Wonderful. So that's not necessarily covered in, say, the program costs that are funded through Barnstable Public Schools. So extra items might have to be fundraised. Really interesting. What kinds of levels of support do students have in Gateway?
The Barnstable Public School System started 2 years ago with the multiple tiered system of supports. So looking at the whole child and figuring out socially, emotionally, academically, where are their readiness skills and where can we take them further from there. And so Gateway is doing the same. The first level of support, called Tier 1, is for all students in Barnstable. We do start with kindergarten if there are needs that arise, but for the most part, that portion of our level of support starts at grade 1 and all the way through to grade 7 with providing them interest inventories and extensions based on their interests. So that's for all students. We also provide lists of classroom interests to the classroom teachers so that they can continue to engage and enhance the learning of students within their classroom.
Wow.
The additional levels, level 2 would be a supplemental support, and that's where students who are high achieving in, let's say, ELA or math, they might need a little bit more, and the teachers, depending on what I call it their toolkit, what their toolkit is in the classroom, they may need a little bit more in terms of supporting and challenging those students. So our level 2 is where we actually create or collaborate with teachers and gather materials so that teachers have what they need to be able to differentiate in the classroom. And when schedules allow, the Gateway teachers actually go into the classroom classrooms and hold small groups or cooperatively teach with the classroom teacher. So that's at level 2.
I guess I never realized that Gateway was such a support system as well for teachers. I just really focused on the things that it provided the students. So interesting to hear that they're actually working with the teachers and helping out that way.
The fact that I came from the classroom and knew how hard it was for teachers, there's just so much that they're asked to do. And when I was teaching, it was always the students that were struggling were the students that we received quite a bit of support for, but the students that were struggling in a different way because they knew the material and they needed to be challenged, that really wasn't there. So that was part of our mission, that we wanted to make sure the teachers had the tools and support. Level 3 is more what Gateway has been throughout, and that's intensive support. It's for the very few students, and we use a multiple measure for that, where we ask teachers to recommend, and they let us know on 3 different levels. Academic ability, the children need to be proficient, if not advanced, in an academic area. And then the other 2 that define this support are task commitment and creativity. And I don't mean creativity where they're going out and creating innovations and experimenting that way, which is part of it. But it's more being flexible, being able to have higher order thinking, being able to apply their thinking in a different way, and have the flexibility of trying different new techniques. So that's where that creativity falls in. And when we look at local and standardized benchmark testing, we look at report cards, the teacher provides us with data on their performance. It's a lot that we look at to see, okay, is this the best placement for the student?
Wonderful. Anything else you want, for those who may not be familiar with Gateway, anything else you want to make sure that our viewers are aware of?
Absolutely. In Gateway, the elementary school is focusing on supporting the students. Next year, we're actually implementing a new program for social emotional learning as well, to help them with the challenges that we found are more prevalent with students. For example, perseverance when something is difficult. What kind of skills can they pull from? What does it look like to have differentiation, and why is that needed? The whole fare is not equal for all students to be able to understand. So we're going to be working with that in elementary school, along with challenging them academically, but a big focus on the social emotional. In the middle grades, 4 through 7, we have advanced placement classes. And so the students that are in Tier 3 that have been identified will have ELA, advanced math, STEM, and FPS, which is future problem solving. So they'll have those 4 options. In addition to that, when you move up through the high school, we have a lot of programs, and we're continually looking to see what else can we do to provide support. We have mock trial at the high school. We have the future problem solvers at the high school as well. We have the scenario writing, which is part of future problem solving. And we also have the Destination Imagination program, which is underneath the umbrella of Gateway. Lenore Frew is the coordinator, and she does that for all of the grades in Barnstable and coordinates that. So that's for all students as well.
Wow, wonderful. Well, thank you for stopping by, telling us all we need to know about Gateway. If anyone's watching and has questions, can they reach out to you to get clarification on issues?
I'm so glad you said that. We have a website. If you go to any of the schools or the district, there is a link. You go to the Departments tab, and then there's a Gateway link. And you will find parent pages, student pages with tons of support and enrichment that students can actually access at home, and then teacher pages. But there's a lot of frequently asked questions there, and links to be able to email or call the office to let us know.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I learned a lot about Gateway that I didn't know before, so we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our guest today is Kari Morse. She is the Director of Gateway for Barnstable Public Schools.